If elections are supposed to be all about the economy, this was the day the election really began. Both the Conservatives and Labour laying out dramatic changes in their plans for public spending and borrowing. And those plans could radically change the way this country looks. Labour pledged to spend £400 billion in total, 250 of that on regional funds for green infrastructure and energy, and £150 billion social transformation fund for upgrading schools, hospitals and council houses over 5 years. It would increase investment by £55 billion a year, more than doubling the current total. To do that, John McDonnell is overhauling the party's fiscal rules. Out goes his rule to reduce the national debt, to be replaced by a measure which includes the value of nationalised companies. But it's not just Labour. Sajid Javid has also committed to a spending spree, throwing out all his old borrowing rules and replacing them with new ones that could allow him to borrow up to £20 billion more every year. He's axed George Osborne and Philip Hammond's central rule, a 2% of GDP limit on borrowing, and, believe it or not, replaced it with pretty much the same one Labour are proposing, a balanced budget. And the rule reducing the national debt is replaced by a new rule limiting government investment to 3% of GDP, around £60 billion. The big question, what will it actually mean for government spending?
We've certainly had quite different announcements from the two parties today. The level of investment spending announced by the Labour Party is very significantly more than the additional spending announced by the Conservatives, even though that the Conservative increase is very big indeed by recent historical standards, and would take investment spending back to its highest level since the end of the 1970s.
Though other institutions here in the City of London might have something to say about that.
In short, everything we've heard from the main political parties today suggests not just that the era of austerity is over, but that a new era of high spending, high borrowing is about to begin. And the main thing holding them back won't necessarily be those fiscal rules, but actually this place, because if Whitehall starts splurging, it's up to the Bank of England to decide whether to put its foot on the brake and to raise interest rates.
The bank's governor underlining they are watching.
The decisions in the spending round last month adds just under 0.5% to the level of GDP over the forecast. So, that's a set of decisions, actual decisions, that it will have a notable effect on the forecast. And following the election, there will be a budget at some point, and then we would take that into account.
So we may not know much about the precise economic plans of either party, but the big picture is becoming clearer. It's no longer about fixing the roof when the sun's shining. Whoever wins, Parliament looks set to kickstart the biggest public investment boom since the 1970s. Ed Conway, Sky News.